Welcome to the Houston Roundball Review Takeover of the Lunch Break, powered by JM&E. I'm KG Kris Gardner of the Houston Roundball Review, recording this on 3 hours sleep, but lots of content, videos, comments from Coach Kelvin Sampson, Coach Grant McCasland, Coach Matthew Mitchell, and Coach Jeff Mittie. All that and more on this edition of the Takeover. Let's enjoy the ride. I am, of course, KG Kris Gardner of the Houston Roundball Review. You're watching today's edition of The Takeover, streaming on the Houston Roundball Review YouTube channel, and of course on Roku via the BS3 Network. I urge you, I encourage you, I plead with you a little bit. If you have a Roku streaming device, download the BS3 TV app. If you don't have it, you can go watch the shows on bs3network.com or bs3tvlive.com. Let's get into it. Lots to talk about here in this edition of the show. Going to walk around a few different things, but first things first, I want to get to the schedule and results for the H-Town teams, UH, Rice, Prairie View, and TSU. First up, of course, is my alma mater, University of Houston. Big win Tuesday over Texas Tech at home. That was just days after winning at Cincinnati to open up Big 12 conference play for this season. The men's team is now 14-1 overall, 2-0 in the Big 12. And I will have post-game comments from both head coaches, Coach Kelvin Sampson and Coach Grant McCasland momentarily. UH women's basketball falls to 0-4 in Big 12 play with a 71-62 loss Wednesday, January 7th at home to Kansas State. A lot to mention about this game. Houston led 53-49 with 6:38 left in the fourth quarter. Then a fight broke out. Fight/scuffle, which resulted in four Houston Cougars players being ejected, 3 for fighting, 1 for leaving the bench. All 4 of them are seniors/grad students, so they're upperclassmen. Amir Abdul-Rahim, Kendall Hunter, Brianna Peguero, and TK Pitts. TK Pitts threw a punch. All of them were tossed. Houston was left with 6 players, 1 reserve on the bench, total. So the lead after the ejections, Kansas State was awarded 6 free throws. Tess Hill made all 6 free throws, so Houston's 4-point lead turned into a 2-point deficit. Houston did what they could, but in the end, they lost the game. Disappointing effort because they played well for a lot of the ball game, but lost their composure, lost their cool, and they got ejected. And now they are 0-4 in Big 12 play and will be shorthanded this Saturday, January 10th at home versus BYU. Prairie View men get ready for Valley, hosting Valley on the Hill this Saturday, 4:30. That game can be seen on SWAC TV, but they won at Southern on Monday, 89-85 to improve to 1-1 in SWAC play. Prairie View women are 0-2 in SWAC play after losing at Southern 70-55 and at Grambling 85-60. Both of those games were streamed on SWAC TV. The Rice men, after battling and playing well Saturday, losing to Memphis 76-70, they went to Wichita State and won 66-64. So they picked up a first road win in conference play. Big win for Rice because they just couldn't get over the hump. Well, they got over the hump Wednesday night on ESPN Plus, winning at Wichita State to improve to 1-2 in conference play and 7-9 overall. Rice women's team has won 8 in a row, including winning Saturday at Florida Atlantic 83-75 and at home against Charlotte 84-59. Charlotte was previously unbeaten in American Conference play, 2-0. Rice beat them by 25 points to improve to 3-0 in the American and 13-3 overall. TSU men are 0-2 in SWAC following losses on SWAC TV at Southern and at Grambling, 84-73 at Southern on Saturday the 3rd, and then at Grambling Monday, 84-67. TSU women are 1-1 in the SWAC, 5-9 overall. They began SWAC play with a 61-58 come from behind win at Grambling, but then lost Saturday at Southern, 64-45. So Southern women's team has defeated Texas Southern and Houston this season. Just keep that in mind. Just a little tidbit there to share. TSU women are 5-9 overall and 1-1 in the SWAC play. But I want to acknowledge Texas Southern women's basketball was treated Monday to lunch, courtesy of the kind folks at Star Pizza, the Norfolk Street address location. It was quickly put together. Me and the general manager, Mike Pittman, who is, of course, Star Pizza, is a supporter of the Houston Roundball Review and a member in the business directory as well. Please join them in that endeavor if you have a business, if you have a company. And it pays off. Connections pay off, because a brief conversation turned into TSU women's basketball team players and staff members being treated to a meal, pizza, courtesy of Star Pizza. And it might not be the last time that arrangement or similar arrangements between TSU and Star Pizza happen this season and hopefully in the future. Connections are important. Connections do matter. I was glad to make it happen, and it happened very quickly, really quickly, in a matter of minutes. From Friday to Monday, January 5th. I was glad to do it, and as I've said, you are watching on YouTube and or Roku. I am proud to do what I do with the Houston Roundball Review. I want all the H-Town basketball teams to shine, to succeed, and I always try to do what I can to help them any way I can. So doing that, being a part of that treat for them, it's my pleasure. Rice women's basketball. Aniah Alexis earned a spot on the American Conference Honorable Mention again this season. She received another conference recognition after earning back-to-back weeks on the American Conference Honorable Mention. The league announced that on Monday. She powered the Owls to a pair of conference road wins at South Florida and Florida Atlantic. She led the Owls with 19 points, 6 rebounds, and an assist and a steal against the USF Bulls. She followed that up with 19 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 steals against Florida Atlantic. This is the third time she has been named to the weekly honorable mention, and she was a preseason all-conference second-team selection. So far, she has lived up to those high expectations for her. Now. I'm going to go ahead and get into it as I touched on it. Houston Cougars men's basketball defeated Texas Tech in a hell of a basketball game Tuesday evening inside Fertitta Center. It was a lot of fun. It was enjoyable. I got a big kick out of the competition. Both sides battled. Both coaches did their parts to put their players in spots to succeed. But one young man shined above them all. Houston freshman Kingston Flemings was clutch down the stretch in the closing moments of that basketball game. Houston trailed 59-57 before Kingston, who missed his first 4 3-point shots, and 3 of those were really bad. They weren't even close to going in. He had a pull-up 3-pointer to give the Cougs a lead with 2 minutes to go. Then later on, with about 30 seconds left in the ball game, with Houston up 1, he hit another deep 3-pointer to help ice the game, and he finished the game with 23 points. So Kingston Flemings, star freshman, zooming up the NBA draft boards as high as 5 now, in the 2026 NBA draft later on this summer. So barring something unforeseen, he's going to be a one-and-done player for the Cougs. He's played so well. He's exceeded a lot of folks' expectations, including mine for sure. But he's special. He's a special talent. And he seems to be that closer for Houston this year on this year's team. And the goal remains the same. The goal is to win the championship for Houston, be the first men's basketball team in Houston history, University of Houston, to win the national championship. Kingston Flemings, he's indicated that he could be that guy to help him get that sixth straight win in the season. We'll see. Time will tell. The next game for the Cougs will be this Saturday in Waco. That game will be on Peacock. So if you don't have Peacock, find a way to watch the game on this Saturday, like I'm going to have to do, and then join us after the game as we have the next edition of Let's Rage Cougs on the Houston Roundball Review YouTube channel. But as promised, I'm going to play some comments, post-game comments after Tuesday's game between Houston and Texas Tech, and we'll get into that. First things first, you hear post-game comments from Houston head coach Kelvin Sampson. His initial post-game comments, I'm going to mix it up, play some comments from Coach Sampson, his opening comments, and then his closing comments. But in between, I'm going to have some comments from Texas Tech head coach Grant McCasland. It will be his entire post-game press conference. These comments available. Those comments will be via Houston Athletics. The comments from Coach Sampson I recorded before joining Andy Yanez and Dayon Dunlap on Let's Rage Cougs. First things first, comments up on today's edition of the Houston Roundball Review Takeover of the lunch break. Opening comments from head coach Kelvin Sampson.
Well, we actually have an action where we flatten the baseline out, play at the nail with him up top, and then we kind of fill behind whichever way it goes. I don't like running that stuff early in games, but it's something that we started working on while we were in Vegas. So you don't need stuff like that every game, but it's nice to have something when you do need it. Before I start answering those questions, though, let's give Texas Tech a lot of credit. That's a damn good team. They're hard to guard. They're difficult to guard. You see why they came back from whatever it was and beat Duke in Madison Square Garden. Nobody does that. I've coached against Duke in Madison Square Garden. It's all Duke fans. It's a home game for them. In fact, the Texas Tech did it. This is kind of the year of the freshmen. Everybody's got great freshmen. Our league is, Peterson and Manson, Kingston, all these guys. But the guy that doesn't get enough credit is JT Toppin. Don't sleep on that dude. He is a monster. One of the reasons why Texas Tech's shooters, and those shooters don't need to be great players, they just need to be great shooters. It calls them top. And I thought we had them guarded a few times pretty good, and that we had a hard time getting back to Toppin sometimes. But I just think he's a great college player. Obviously, he's an elite shot blocker, and so is JoJo. JoJo's an elite shot blocker. JoJo's not as good a scorer as Toppin is. Toppin's a much better offensive player. But he had, 11 rebounds, and JoJo had 10. But the difference was CNET. I thought that was, CNET missed, chased the side of the backboard on a wide open three. Of course, we were pretty good at that tonight, missing a lot of shots. But I just think that the reason why neither team played great was the other team. And I hate it when coaches walk into these press conferences and talk about what their team didn't do without giving credit to the other team. Texas Tech deserves a lot of credit for the way we played. And they didn't guard us at the free throw line, and they didn't guard us with some of those shots Milo's missed. But they missed some shots too. Just two good teams. That's what happens. We just played a team Saturday. It was the number 6 defensive team in the nation, Cincinnati. I think we're 8th or 9th, whatever we are, but Cincinnati's number 6. There's a reason why you don't play great against great defensive teams. But Texas Tech's good. I thought it would be this kind of game, but that's part of our guys for hanging in there and finding a way to win against a really good team.
Sean, what does it say about him?
Fearless. I didn't think Kingston played great tonight. He had Milos, and he had 5 turnovers so far. But, Texas Tech did a great job of defending us, just like we did a great job defending them. Anderson, holding him to 7 is not easy now. Anderson's a load. I think it was Bill at Kansas that said that Toppin and Anderson are the 2 best players on one team. I don't remember if he said in the league or the nation. He would have been right either way, probably. But Texas Tech's about what we thought they would be. We played against Anderson last year, and I thought our 2 freshmen played good. Maybe not great, but really good. CNACs, we call them tip outs. Missed shots. If we can't get them, we try to tip them back to half court, and that gives us an extra possession. That's something we work at. It's like not turning the ball over. We've always been good at that. But the biggest play of the game, I thought, was Milos went up and missed the 1-and-1, and Kris got the rebound. That was a big play. And I was glad to see it was Kris. It's like all freshmen. He's up and down, and we didn't have any freshmen last year, so our team was never up and down. We were good every night. This team's freshman team, they're going to be up, they're going to be down, they're going to be down, they're going to be up. Don't follow my hand, I got that confused. But you guys know what I'm saying.
There you go. Some comments. The first comments from head coach Kelvin Sampson after his team's gutty win, 69-65 win over Texas Tech. Now I'm going to play some post-game comments from Tech's head coach Grant McCasland, not some comments, then Coach McCasland's entire post-game press conference as you are watching today's edition of the Houston Roundball Review Takeover of the Lunch Break, Throwback Thursday style, powered by JM&E, streaming on the Houston Roundball Review YouTube channel, as well as on Roku via the BS3 Network. Now, comments from Texas Tech men's basketball head coach Grant McCasland.
Yeah, what a great college basketball atmosphere. Credit to Houston for having a full house and just the juice in the building was awesome. We know who we're facing. It's one of the toughest teams in the country, if not the toughest. They just compete on every possession. We knew we'd have to match them on the glass or at least compete on that end. I thought that was solid for the most part. Ultimately, we fouled too much, and they got to the free throw line a significant amount of times more than we did. And then we got some guys that haven't been in this game before. A couple of years ago, we were in this game in our first year with Houston in the Big 12, and we got bullied good, and our guys saw it. And I think we had the right fight with the majority of our team, but some guys haven't felt this amount of squeeze, and it affected us. And that's to Houston's credit, man. They just beat us in paint points, beat us in the free throw line. They had some transition baskets. We had a few turnovers, and ultimately turnovers cost us. And when we got shots, we actually shot, a decent amount and played okay from 3. It always has been kind of our go-to to keep us in the game, and I thought our ball movement got stale and just our inability to leverage them was obvious. And they're a great defensive team, so give them credit.
do you think it just kind of ultimately comes down to the turnovers in the last couple of minutes, kind of getting stagnant on offense and giving momentum kind of back to them?
Yeah, I mean, it looked like a lot of that's fatigue too. I mean, you're playing a lot of minutes and you're having to face, just a extremely physical game. And, Donovan playing 39, Christian playing the whole game, and JT playing a majority of it, and I thought Jalen Petty was tremendous. So you just get to the end of the game, and we looked fatigued in those moments. And once again, you try to put the right guys out there and give them opportunities. But that kind of game, man, it's not for the faint of heart, man. It's for the gritty. It's for the tough. It's for the ones that love. I think we had one possession where 4 guys came out of the game and they all had bloody lips. It's just part of what the game is. If you don't like the fight, then don't play. And that's what.
I love the comment. If you don't like the fight, then don't play. Yes, indeed. I love Big 12 basketball. More comments from Tech head coach Grant McCasland.
This game is, and that's what I love it, and that's why I respect Coach Sampson. That's why I love playing against him and love playing in this place, because it really does show who loves the grit and fight that it takes to win a basketball game.
Result aside, is that just the level of intensity you want on the defensive end?
Yeah, no, we had some great defensive possessions. I thought JT's activity, I thought we had some real stretches. Don's defense on the ball. Christian had some great ones. Jalen Petty was great. We had some really good active possessions for a majority of the game.
Grant, down the stretch there, their freshman point guard Flemings seemed to want the ball. What did you know coming in, and what did you see in that stretch there where he really kind of made a difference?
Yeah, credit Kingston, man. What an unbelievable young man of character, man. I mean, I know him well. Our staff knows him well. Just respect him, respect his family, respect how he competes, how he prepares, and he didn't play great early in the game. And I made a huge mistake at the end of the game in the way I mismanaged how we defended him on a nail play where they put him in the middle of the floor, and he made a huge three. And that made one all game long. I mean, it just shows his competitive character is tremendous. And then he made that pull up, and after he made that three, I thought he was already in a mode where he was taking the game over. And give him credit, he made some big shots.
Obviously, Houston is a great defensive team, but what did they do specifically tonight to give Christian Anderson so many issues?
Yeah, well, I mean, anytime they put 2 on the ball, he made all the right passes. He got a little fatigued at the end and turned it over, but it's all about, we do need to free him up. We got to figure out a way to get him loose a little bit, but then when he did get in the paint, just their length at the rim caused him problems too. And he's been getting into a little bit of a flow, and they stayed connected to him and called a push off on him, and I think that kind of starts to figure out like how you're going to create some separation. And he's a tremendous player. He'll bounce back from this. I mean, this is one of those ones that you learn from, and to have this opportunity, and I got to help him too. I got to do a better job freeing him up.
In regards to Jalen Petty, you mentioned earlier, some of these guys haven't been in an environment like this before, but for him to start the game the way he did and just compete all night, what did you see from him?
Yeah, Jalen Petty is not scared, man. To me, he's in that same ballpark of competitive character. He shows up every day and works. He does not shy away from coaching. He wants the hard things. He loves winning, and he cares more about winning than he does playing good. And in games like this, that shows who people really are, and that's why I think he played so good. And that's why I loved him too, because he didn't play perfect defensively, but he had so many good possessions. I mean, we held him under 40% from the field and 24% from three. I mean, those numbers should give us an opportunity to win the game, which it did, and he was a big reason why.
Josiah, go through all the warm-ups. Is he kind of trending towards coming back sooner rather than later? What about the other kind of big guys, so JT doesn't have to play 38 minutes?
Yeah, well, we're hoping to get those guys back, specifically Mariel and Luke. I think they're probably closer than Josiah, if I'm guessing. But, man, it's I quit asking, to be honest, so. I'm just going to say, hey, who can show up and practice and play today, and I'm not even trying to guess. I know these guys are available to play today, and we put them out there, and they gave us a good fight, but obviously wasn't good enough in the Big 12. And honestly, I got to do a better job. as usual. I mean, I kick myself in these games when I know I'm trying to bring people along and probably stick with some of the flow to try to create some offensive advantage, and we need more fight than that. And we got it from a majority of the guys, but not everybody.
There you go. The post-game press conference from Texas Tech men's basketball head coach Grant McCasland. I admire his passion, appreciate his passion and his candor. He's a fiery head coach as well. If you saw the game, you watched the game, you saw him getting on the court, screaming at his players, at the refs. But he's a hell of a coach. Texas Tech is a hell of a team. I love the Cougs being in the Big 12, get a chance to, again, cover Big 12 basketball like I did years ago. And now that my alma mater is part of the Big 12, is a member of the Big 12, this is tasty pudding for me to be part of and get a chance to cover the games on the men's and women's sides in Big 12 basketball play. And speaking of Big 12 women's basketball, I'm going to play post-game comments from Houston head coach Matthew Mitchell, as well as Kansas State head coach Jeff Mittie, and get their thoughts and reactions on the game, and as well as the scuffle that took place and really changed the momentum of the game when it happened roughly midway in the fourth quarter. But those comments I'll share those with you after the promo for BS3 TV, BS3 Network, so you get an idea of what BS3 TV is all about. Because the Takeover, in addition to streaming on the Houston Roundball Review YouTube channel, also streams on Roku via the BS3 Network. I'm going to play the promo, and then after 90 seconds, come back and start showing comments from Matthew Mitchell, Jeff Mittie, and some more comments from Houston's Kelvin Sampson. I am KG Kris Gardner of the Houston Roundball Review, and you are watching the Houston Roundball Review Takeover of the Lunch Break. Throwback Thursday, powered by JM&E. I'll be back in 90 seconds.
BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV.
Welcome back to today's edition of the Houston Roundball Review Takeover of the Lunch Break. Throwback Thursday style. Takeover is powered by JM&E. And it's streaming on the Houston Roundball Review on YouTube, as well as on Roku via the BS3 Network. First part of the show, play some comments from head coach Kelvin Sampson. More comments from Coach Sampson to follow soon, as well as post-game presser from Grant McCasland, the Texas Tech men's basketball head coach. Both of those are after Houston's 4-point win over Texas Tech Tuesday night inside Fertitta Center. And before I get to the other videos for you on today's Takeover, I'm teasing you, keep you watching the show. I'm going to share some Big 12 news these two players of the week, and then I'll get to the videos, maybe. But Texas Tech JT Toppin was named Player of the Week for his performance last week. And boy, he played well against Houston Tuesday night. I think he blocked 6 shots. He did a little bit of everything for the Red Raiders, but it wasn't enough as Kingston Flemings for Houston came through down the stretch. But Tech's JT Toppin and BYU's AJ DeBonsa, Toppin Player of the Week, DeBonsa Newcomer of the Week, were named Big 12 Men's Basketball Weekly Award winners for their efforts in double-digit wins in their respective Big 12 openers. Toppin scored 23 points and added 14 rebounds as he secured his conference-leading 8th double-double of the season. The junior from Dallas was 10 for 19 from the field as the Red Raiders defeated Oklahoma State 102-80. The 2025 Big 12 Player of the Year added 2 steals to capture his 3rd career Big 12 Player of the Week award and his first of this season. DeBonsa poured in 24 points off of 8 of 15 shooting to nab newcomer honors for the 2nd consecutive week. DeBonsa added 8 rebounds, 3 assists, and 3 steals in the 83-73 win at Kansas State. He is now the nation's leading scorer, having scored 20-plus points in 7 straight games, and has led BYU to victories in its last 10 games, the program's longest win streak since the 2010-2011 season. Toppin and DeBonsa were joined on the Big 12 starting 5 by UCF's Riley Kugel and the Iowa State duo of Joshua Jefferson and Milan Momcilovic. Kugel scored 19 points as UCF toppled number 17 Kansas 81-75, marking the night's 2nd win in Jayhawks' last 3 visits to Orlando, Florida. Jefferson and Milan contributed to the Cyclones' 80-59 win over West Virginia, with Jefferson notching the first triple-double in a Big 12 game since the Cyclones' Tyrese Halliburton did so in 2020. Momcilovic scored 26 points off 8 of 10 3-point shooting, taking over the national lead in 3-point percentage. And there you have the Big 12 starting 5. DeBonsa from BYU, Riley Kugel, UCF, Joshua Jefferson, Iowa State, Milan Momcilovic from Iowa State, and JT Toppin from Texas Tech. On the women's side, Baylor's Talia Scott, Player of the Week, and Kansas's Jalea Davis, Freshman of the Week, earned weekly Big 12 women's basketball recognition for the 9th week of the 2025-26 season. Iowa State's Audie Crooks, TCU's Olivia Miles, and Utah's Lainey White joined the pair on the Big 12 starting 5, which of course highlights strong performances from around the league. Talia Scott hit the game-winning shot over then number 10 Iowa State to give Baylor its first top 10 road victory since December 30th, 2023. Scott scored all 21 of her points in the second half. She started the week putting up 24 points in her first full game back from injury, helping the Bears erase a 19-point third-quarter deficit to win in Stillwater, defeating Oklahoma State 77-68. This is the redshirt sophomore's 2nd Big 12 weekly award. Jalea Davis scored 20 points in both of KU's games while averaging 20-plus points in both of KU's games while averaging 23.5 points per game for the week. Davis started with 21 points in her return from injury against West Virginia before adding 26 points in an 83-68 victory over UCF, where she shot 10 of 12 from the floor. Davis has scored at least 10 points in all 5 games she's played this season, including 3 games with 20-plus points. This is her first, won't be her last, weekly accolade. Audie Crooks averaged over 30 points per game for Iowa State while posting her 80th and 81st consecutive career games with double-figure scoring. Olivia Miles notched her Big 12 single season record 4th triple-double to join Caitlin Clark and Sabrina Ionescu as the only players in women's college basketball history to have at least 10 career triple-doubles. Lainey White scored 25 points, including a game-tying 3 with 12 seconds left in the fourth quarter as Utah claimed its 11th top 10 victory in program history with an 87-77 overtime victory over then number 8 TCU. And to recap the Big 12 starting 5 for women's hoops as of January 5th, Talia Scott from Baylor, Player of the Week. Audie Crooks from Iowa State. Jalea Davis from Kansas, Freshman of the Week. Olivia Miles from TCU. And Lainey White from Utah. Now, as promised, going to play post-game comments from Matthew Mitchell, Houston head coach, as well as Jeff Mittie, Kansas State head coach, after Wednesday's game between Houston's women's team and the K-State Wildcats, won by Kansas State, 71-62 final score. However, during the fourth quarter, with 6 minutes, 38 seconds left in the game, and Houston leading by 4 and had the momentum in the game, a skirmish occurred. Loose ball, Amira Abdul-Rahim for Houston and Janisa Cotton for K-State both had their hands on the ball. So it's a tie-up, alternating possession. Both had their hands on the ball. Neither wanted to give up the ball. Cotton, we say, being stronger than Amira. Amira ended up on the floor, right by the basket, bottom of the basket. She didn't like it. Her Houston teammates didn't like it, how she was treated. All hell broke loose. And that skirmish resulted in, and Kendall Hunter for Houston left the bench and ran all the way down the court to join, I don't know what she thought she was going to do, to be part of it. All of that resulted in K-State's Cotton, as well as Houston's Kendall Hunter, Brianna Piguero, TK Pitts, and Amira Abdul-Rahim being ejected. Hunter was the one ejected for leaving the bench. The other 4 were ejected for fighting. So that's automatic ejections and suspension, at least 1 game as well for those players. After that, the refs took their time reviewing the monitors and checking who did what, who caused it, who instigated it, who retaliated, who left the bench, and determined and decided that Kansas State would be awarded 6 free throws. And Tess Hill for K-State made all 6 free throws, erasing Houston's 4-point lead and creating a K-State 2-point lead in return. And ultimately, Houston's remaining 6 players ran out of gas and lost 71-62 to fall to 0-4 in Big 12 play. First up, post-game press conference from Kansas State head coach Jeff Mittie.
Just want to give Houston a lot of credit tonight for really, I think, dictating the physicality of the game, dictating, I think, the tempo of the game. You know, they really had us on our heels that first half, really frustrated our guards, and they had a lot to do with that. And I thought when I looked at Houston on film, they had played 3 of the top teams in the league coming in, and I know that some of those margins had gotten away from them, but I was impressed with how gritty and tough they played, and I think that's a credit to the staff and their kids. Their kids they're fighting right now, and we were fortunate to come out with a victory tonight.
Coach, what adjustments did you make at halftime and into that third quarter?
Well, from a defensive standpoint, we wanted to make sure we were a little more disciplined. We put them on the free throw line 15 times in the first half, and many times we were in better position, but we were fouling jump shooters, and that's just a cardinal sin defensively. So toughness, we needed to play tougher. I thought we did in the second half. I thought we got to the floor, dove on the floor numerous times. I felt like we competed better on the glass than we did in the first half. Offensively, we really struggled to find any rhythm. Press gave us a little bit of offense. The unfortunate situation under the basket ends up giving us some opportunities to score, and that kind of turned the momentum at that point. But, we were fighting at that. Well, fighting's a bad word because, it's unfortunate that happened. I hate it because it's a competitive game. It's just one of those things that I'm glad our bench, because it happened in front of us. Those things happen very quickly. My staff did a great job of keeping our players on the bench because that could have been a big change for us too. But I just thought we were more competitive in the second half. There wasn't a whole lot of X's and O's adjustments. We did want to go with more dribble entry because of their pressure. They're really active on our wings, really active on the elbows, and that would be the one adjustment.
Yeah, your offense, I really like how you move the ball and you get a lot of movement out of it. Tess Hill had 31 points, so she had a pretty good stat sheet. So how much do you depend on her throughout your seasons?
Yeah, tonight was a night where Garcian's sides really struggled, and once again, Houston had something to do with that. They really put a lot of emphasis on it, and they did a great job with it. Tess is a really tough, hard-nosed player. She has learned to play with a greater pace about her. And tonight we were able to run some offense through her at the point guard. We were able to run some offense through her at the wing, and so we just kept moving her around. And she played really well. Obviously, we wouldn't be sitting here with a victory if it wasn't for Tess's performance tonight.
Your thoughts of overall right now of the conference?
Boy, I heard some of the scores tonight. I think the league's good. I think that the one thing that the transfer portal has done in college basketball is it's given the ability to be, for all the teams to be old if they choose. They can get experience. And, we're one of the youngest teams in Power 4. Somebody gave me the stat that we might play the most freshmen. I'm not sure. Anyways, I know I'm getting older quick, so I hope they get older quick here too. But I think the league, top to bottom, it looks like there's going to be some ability to knock some people off, even if you're, and once again, we're early in the season, so who's at the bottom, who's at the top, but the perceived, who's the returning teams, those kind of things. I also felt like in looking at some games that it's got pretty good depth to it. Like right now, I think we've got 9 teams in the top 65 in the net. So that's a pretty good number for a conference to have. So I feel like it's pretty strong. I feel like it's pretty deep. I feel like there's going to be a lot of teams playing in the postseason. It's early in our conference to tell who that's going to be, but I think it's a pretty competitive year.
Anything?
Comments from Jeff Mittie, Kansas State women's basketball head coach, after his team's 71-62 come from behind win over the Houston Cougars Wednesday night inside Fertitta Center. And the situation that Coach Mittie referred to was a skirmish between one of his players and multiple Houston players. And Houston lost their cool, lost their composure, and 4 players for Houston were ejected from the game, which hurt them and obviously hurt their chances of holding on to their 4-point lead at the time and resulted in their 9-point loss. Now I'm going to play comments from Houston head coach Matthew Mitchell, and you can see and hear the disappointment, see it on his face and hear it in his voice about what happened. Here are comments here are the comments, post-game press comments from Matthew Mitchell about everything that happened tonight.
Well, it was a disappointing end to the night. You know, the players really prepared so well for the game and had two of our best practices leading up to the game, and clearly, you know, we felt like we were on a path to victory, and then lost our emotions and lost our composure, and you know, just really disappointed in our lack of discipline right there. It's just so devastating to our team, but it is a moment that we'll have to grow from and learn from, and but that's certainly not who we want to be as a basketball program, and we just want to play great basketball and be a real high character and emotional stability, and we didn't show a lot of that tonight, and it very well could have cost us the game. I thought we had the momentum, thought we had really weathered the storm there. I was real proud of that, but that's not how we want to operate here at Houston.
Coach, what was your message, I guess, immediately after it happened in the huddle and to the players?
Yeah, just trying to immediately, while we were on the floor, just trying to figure out what went on and what had transpired, and you know, it's and then just try to teach in that moment. Just really, you know, disappointed that was our response to the situation, and you know, just tried to teach that, you know, you're hurting your team. The retaliators always get they sometimes miss the instigator. They never ever miss the retaliator. And we just, you know, it was a tough play, and I think it was a tough contested ball, and Amira and number 23 were, you know, kind of wrestling for it, and it got a little intense, but our response was so poor. It was just so poor. It's not we didn't need to do that, and had we kept our composure, then that would have been 2 free throws for us, and we would have extended our lead. And then, you know, but we get multiple players, which now, you know, affects us for the next game. So it's just a really difficult mistake to make. Really hurts our basketball team, and is a lesson we'll have to learn from. And I'm very sad that it happened, and just no place for it. And we've got to learn from it and move forward.
Coach, aside from the confrontations tonight, I mean, just still finishing with going +1 in the turnover battle, like, does that still speak volumes even in a night like this?
Well, I think it's really, you know, a tale of two different situations. I think up to the point of, you know, us losing our composure and getting into the altercation, I think you see the growth in our basketball team. We were very disruptive and made it very difficult for them in the first half, and you know, got out to a good lead there. And then I was so proud of the response to their comeback and their run that they made, because they took the lead from us. And we fought back into it, tied it at third quarter, and then, like I said, I really thought we had the momentum. I thought we had gotten them back on their heels again. And if you think about it, we were up 4 and then got that stop, and Amira gets the rebound, and you know, and then the next 5 minutes is you know, not a great situation for us. But I was proud of those players that came out. We were shorthanded and had some young players on the floor and experienced players at times on the floor, and then we kept battling. So, you know, there's definitely some positives that we can take from the game, and we have to recognize and understand that the team's getting better, and you know, we were really in a position, I think, to win the game tonight, and so unfortunately we weren't able to get that done.
Yeah, when you talk about the momentum, it felt like to me Shantara came in and was a spark to that momentum. coming in 7 and 7 in the free throws, and it was 7 points. Talk about her progress because she's one of your young ones.
Yeah, I think she's really been working hard in practice, and she's earned some opportunity there through that, and so that's what we look for, is to see the players developing, and you can clearly see that the players are getting better and developing, and that's what we want to make sure we're devoting our energy to, player development, and it's a place where you can come and be certain that your coaches are going to care enough about you to push you to a place where you maybe not even think you can go to, but you can really develop your skills and strengthen your skills, and that's what she's on the road to doing. And I thought she did an outstanding job and was a spark off the bench. Proud of her.
Coach, do you know how quickly the conference will determine or decision regarding eligibility for Saturday?
Yeah, it's cut and dried. It's if you're ejected for fighting, you're out, and so we'll be down Bree, Amira, and TK. So that's 3 of our starters, and it's just cut and dry. There's nothing, and it's they learn a hard lesson, and it's going to be a tough situation for our team. But we'll come in tomorrow and bounce back and get our players that are eligible for the game ready to play and get in and compete and continue our growth and continue our improvement, and work really hard tomorrow and try to get in position to win on Saturday.
There you have comments from head coach Matthew Mitchell, the Houston Cougars women's basketball coach, after his team's 71-62 loss to Kansas State Wednesday night, in a game in which Houston led by 4 with 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and players got involved in a skirmish, scuffle, fracas, which ended up having 4 players for Houston being ejected, 3 for fighting. It was having an impact on their next game on Saturday, their upcoming game Saturday at home against BYU. So they'll be undermanned in that game. And they played well Wednesday night against Kansas State. They gave themselves a chance to win until they lost their cool, lost their composure, and lost the ball game. Before I get to Coach Sampson's final comments, I want to squeeze in some SWAC honors. Real quick, the SWAC, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, has tabbed Prairie View A&M's Terrion Joseph, along with Arkansas Pine Bluff's Alex Mirahosseini and Keon Williams for SWAC Men's Basketball Weekly Awards. Joseph continued his impressive play with strong performances against Grambling State and Southern, while leading the Panthers, averaging 26.5 points per game this past week. This, of course, is week ending January 6th. Impact, Mirahosseini averaged 18.5 points and 3 rebounds per game for Arkansas Pine Bluff, while shooting 48% from the floor. Newcomer, Keon Williams, averaged 18.5 points and 6.5 rebounds per game for Arkansas Pine Bluff during the Golden Lions' wins over Alabama State and Alabama A&M. How about that for Pine Bluff? How about that? Women's side, the awards ending for the week, January 6th. Tabbed Grambling State's Shania Nunn, Alabama's A&M's Jada Belton, and Mississippi Valley State's Ariel Jefferson for SWAC Women's Basketball Weekly Honors. Player of the week, Shania Nunn scored 20 points on 9 for 15 shooting and grabbed 7 rebounds, along with 3 steals in an 85-60 win over Prairie View A&M, while averaging 16.5 points per game this week. Jada Belton, impact player, averaged a double-double for Alabama A&M with 11 points and 11.5 rebounds per game, while shooting 47.1%, 8 of 17 from the floor. And newcomer, Ariel Jefferson, logged season highs for both minutes, 37, and free throws made, 5, as Valley won its first SWAC opener since 2019, knocking off Alabama A&M in overtime. Now, got that in. Now, in these closing moments, some end of press conference comments from head coach Kelvin Sampson. He was awarded the honor of being inducted into the State of North Carolina Hall of Fame, Sports Hall of Fame. And here's some comments about Coach Sampson's, what his thoughts on that, being inducted, another honor, I just want to play this because just take a listen.
I appreciate that. The biggest thing is, where Karen and I started as 23-year-olds, 24-year-olds, and just trying to get a job. And then when I got a job, I was just hoping I didn't get fired. Because that was no guarantee that was going to happen. And then, and the sacrifices that Karen's mother and father made for her, because Karen she graduated and was a first grade school teacher, and she gave up her career to chase me with my crazy dreams to Montana, of all places. And we figured if it didn't work out, I'd go back to Pembroke, North Carolina, and be a high school coach. That was kind of my default plan. And after my first year, that default plan was starting to become the plan. Because I think we went 4-23, and then 2 days after the season ended, they called and said one of the teams played an ineligible player and beat us 3 times. So we went from 4-23 to 7-20, and that was the most wins the school had like in 8 years. So there's a reason they hired me. Wasn't a very good job. But my mother and father, Karen's mother and father, Karen, because when we started, we didn't have children. It was just us, just chasing the dream. And now, I'm here toward the end of it. It's almost over, and these awards come up. It just reminds you of the people that helped along the way.
As today's takeover wraps up, I want to thank the supporters, members of the Houston Roundball Review Business Directory, and they are the African Center of Wellbeing, Bayou Beat, Be Elite Basketball, Byron Riley CPA, the Pinto Leon Law Firm, Pruitt's in the Heights, Star Pizza, Tejas Brewery, United Sports and Entertainment, VIP Realty, and the Saxenian family. If you want to join them, and please join them in the directory, email me at advertise@the HRR.com. Once again, advertise@the HRR.com. Also, become a member of the Houston Roundball Review's YouTube Members Only section, the All League tier, for $2.99 per month, or the All World tier for $4.99 per month. You get early access to new videos, status updates, perks, members only YouTube videos, members only live streams. As I'm back to work at school, this is where more of my focus and content will be for the YouTube members only. So you want to get that content, want to know what's going on, become a member. I encourage you to become a member, because that also helps the Houston Roundball Review continue pressing forward, knocking down those rocks, and chasing my dreams of making the Houston Roundball Review a success. Lastly, get you some merch, order you some merch. This is a different way to support the Houston Roundball Review as it finally loads. Sweatshirts, hoodies, pants, mugs. They want the Cougs apparel, the Houston Roundball Review apparel, different ways to support the Houston Roundball Review. You can wear it. You can enjoy your favorite beverage. Scan that QR code and order your Houston Roundball Review merch today. That will do it for today's edition of the Houston Roundball Review Takeover of the Lunch Break. Throwback Thursday, powered by JM&E. Working on 3 hours of sleep after the Cougs win over Texas Tech. Woke up at 4 o'clock to go to work at school. Been up since then. Went to Houston, Kansas State women's game, and then put together this show for you guys to watch Thursday on YouTube, Houston Roundball Review on YouTube, as well as on Roku via the BS3 Network. That'll do it. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your support. Spread the word about the Houston Roundball Review. Spread the word about the Takeover. Spread the word about BS3. And in conclusion, since 1994, the Houston Roundball Review. Local name, global perspective. Take care. Peace.